Hey guys, it's Matt here. Today is May 9th, 2020. I wanted to do just a quick video of what the gap scan settings I use, both before the market opens and then during trading. I only trade the first hour, typically hour and a half some days. So take that for what it's worth. These are the scanners and settings that I use as of now, but that's always able to change. That's why I want to put a date on this. That way, if you're watching this 3 years down the road, you might look for a newer version of this type of video if my settings have changed. But um, you can see I have the scanner tool in Thinkorswim pulled up here. This is a really simple one that I use pre-market to find stocks that might be in play. So basically we have a stock filter, volume, minimum 100,000 shares. I'll talk about that in a second. So another one that is basically the last price is between $1 and $20, because that's kind of the range that I trade. And then I have a study filter that's after hours percent change. You can see that under price performance, after hours percent change. There's also gap up and gap down. You can use gap up and you get pretty much the same result that I'm getting with after hours percent change, but basically I use after hours percent change. The close has moved greater than 4% in after hours trading. And then I have a little button here because that little checkbox is for, so it's my understanding that is for including after hours. That's outside market times. So you definitely want to check that, and I have it for a 1-minute chart. I don't know that really makes a difference, but that's what I have it for. Anyway, when you hit scan, I don't know if it's going to do anything right now. Probably not, because it's Saturday. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so it turned back a whole bunch of them. So here's what I'm glad it did that. So here's what I end up doing in the actual pre-market. So I sit down, market opens right now 6:30 my time, because I'm in the West Coast. So I sit down usually around 6 o'clock and just take a look at this scan and see what's popping off. So I have it sorted by number of shares. That's a half-ass way to figure out float, kind of. They don't really have a float setting in Thinkorswim as far as I can tell. I've looked and I can't find one. So again, if anybody can give me a heads up to that, that would be probably easier or better. But this honestly, this seems to work. It's a simple one, but it seems to work. So then I end up just going through here, and really what I look for is either especially as we get closer to market open, I look for the higher hundreds of thousands of shares traded in volume, or even in the millions. So I would scan this first and just look for the kind of the extra placeholder here. So all these would get skipped. This one's kind of I would never see anything this big usually in pre-market. So this is because this is all after the day. But that was PTGX, which was kind of doing some fun stuff on yesterday. But so basically I scan down and see the big ones. I'm like, okay, check that out. Let's put up a chart, see where it is. Then I'd scan down, I'd see this one, these guys here. Again, you wouldn't see this kind of volume typically pre-market. You'd see something more like this, whatever this TMST is. You'd see like just over 1 million shares, or maybe 3 million like this in pre-market. And then I'd look for high 100,000s too, like if there's something that just hasn't hit the million mark yet, but it's in the 7, 8, or 900,000s. I'll take a look at those just because it's what's active. And as we get down here, you start to see larger volume, but you also start to see larger total share size, and you'll recognize some of the bigger stocks like American Airlines has been up there lately a lot. Some of the cruise companies, and those, while they've got a lot of volume, they trade more slowly, kind of sluggishly. It's not really what I'm looking for. So that's my pre-market scan. It's the main one I start with, and then lately I've actually just been, depending how much that gives me, I've been kind of just cutting that last part off and then just doing this again with just the price and volume, because that's really what you want. You want stuff that's active pre-market, right? If it's gapping up, that's probably a good thing, especially since I'm a long bias trader. But even if it's getting crushed and it's come down a little bit, that can still maybe give a setup. Um, so it's rare that I find something really good though, after taking that the 4% gap part of this off. Um, it's rare that I find something good. So uh, that I didn't see before. But anyway, just to put that thing back on, oops, you would add filter, go to study. And this is where a lot of the cool stuff is. Price performance, and then after hours percent change. And again, it was the close, and I do 4% like that. Okay, so that is my pre-market scanner. I have a couple others that I use. So there's high of day 240. Let's pull that one up. So you can see again, minimum volume of 100,000. This is one that I use while the market's open. So basically what I'm looking for is something that's within 3% of the last 240 minutes. It's within 3% of the high of that period. Okay, so again, volume filter, at least 100,000 shares, especially by the time the market opens. If you don't have that, at some point it's probably not going to pop off. But that's the same throughout the rest of the day. Again, the price filter of between $1 and $20, because that's basically what I trade. And then the shares, I just put a max of a lot there. Mostly because if it's, I don't know why it won't get out of there. That's actually probably even just too higher than it needs to be. But this seems to be, actually looking at that now, I didn't realize that was even still in there. I could probably bring that down. Just because the ones that have that kind of volume or that kind of share size are probably outside this price range anyway. Anyway, it works though. So, and then two studies. One is the near high lows study. Current price was in 3% of 240 period high of 1 minute. So this is where it's important to have a 1 minute candle here. So it's at the last 240 minutes. If that were 5 minute, it would be the last 245 minute periods. And this includes external market hours. I think that's what EXT means there. I'm going to call it external. So then here we've got the study of average volume, and then the 5 period simple moving average of volume is greater than 50,000. Yeah. And so that's just kind of making sure that the volume has been increasing, that it's near its high of that period, the 240 period, because the volume's increasing. Because if it's doing it with low volume, I don't really give a shit. So anyway, that one sits over on my sidebar on the main screen. I'll show you that. Well, actually, I can just show you that now, probably. Let's do that right now. So this is the main screen. My screen I have down on my laptop screen, and you can see in the side here. So I put in a watch list of that's the high of day 240, the one we just went over. This is my watch list that I just create off of that initial scanner. So the ones that I want to watch, and if anything pops up on these scanners during the day, I'll usually drag them into here just to keep them there, because sometimes something hits the scanner or one of the scanners, and it's still valid, but it disappears from the scanner just because the settings go away, or it doesn't meet the certain criteria. But I still want to keep an eye on it. So this is basically my manual watch list. I always put the SPY in there just to see where we are on the day. So the other two that I keep up here, in fact, I just added one of these just the other day. Unusual volume is what I called one, and then this one is Momo Mofo. So and these names, when they amuse me, it's because I made them to amuse me. I don't expect anybody else to think they're funny. Let's look at unusual volume. So let's see. I made these so long ago, I don't even know. I didn't look at them before I started the video. So let's see. We've got the volume and price filters again of 100,000 and between 1 and 20 dollars, and then it's just an unusual volume. For the current bar's volume increased at least 20% from its typical average over 20 periods. So if you take the 20 period average of the volume, uh, this one is 20% more, and that's on a 3 minute bar or 3 minute time period, including pre-market hours. And so I just found that this was a good volume filter. So it really lets me know when things are popping off. I guess I could probably do a minute there, but you'd get a lot more false positives, right? You get a lot of stuff that would pop up because it had one little volume burst in a minute, and then you look at the chart and it would just be a huge turd, and it's just kind of a waste of time. I'd rather have something that let it pop off for a couple minutes. I don't need to be the first one into this stuff. That's not what I'm going for. Um, so um, yeah. Anyway, 3 minutes seems to be a good, 5 minutes, and you might miss a good pullback on something that's breaking out. Um, but 1 minute's probably again just a lot of false positives and a lot of looking at scanner or charts of stocks that pop up on that scanner that aren't worth looking at. It's not worth taking your eyes off of whatever else you might be watching to pull up all these charts that are popping up on this 1 minute scanner, uh, just to go, oh, that's a turd that had, I don't know, one of the institutions just sold a bunch of their shares, or well, I don't know what causes those little 1 minute pops in volume, but I'm assuming it's somebody with a lot of shares doing something with it, right? Um, and then let's pull up one more. Momo Mofo. So again, the same volume and price filter. Those are pretty standard, and those are simple enough to get. By the way, if you're not familiar with Thinkorswim, just add filter, then stock, and then you've got all your stuff right here. So for volume, you just add that, and then last would be last price. Okay, I'm gonna take this one out of there though. So this one is yeah, volume and price filter, and then another study filter. Price change closes at least 5% greater than 2 bars ago, and that's on the 5 minute chart, 5 minute bar, I should say. So again, that's just something that's popping off on a 5 minute time frame. I could actually probably move that down to maybe a 3 minute. It might give me something even better. I'm starting to think about that now. Maybe I'll try that. But again, these seems to be working for me. I don't know that there's a specific science to this. There's no one right answer, but these settings seem to be working for me. They're giving me stuff that I feel is useful. When you put them in the sidebar like I have, they on the main screen, they automatically refresh every so often. So otherwise, you have to come back and hit the scan button, and then after a couple minutes, you hit the scan button again when it's available. But so anyway, these are the settings that I use right now. Lately, I've been having to use the scanners more, just because there's not been so much obvious stuff pre-market. So it's just been a little slow overall past couple weeks maybe. I mean, there's been some days where there's something that pops off really well right from the get-go, but days like yesterday, Friday, PTGX ended up popping off, but that wasn't really on my scans pre-market, and I didn't see anybody else that was looking at it pre-market because I follow some of the other guys that are throwing out watch lists in the morning. So yeah, so I've had to use the scanners a little bit more lately. So and going through the summer here, I'm guessing that'll continue to be true. So I'll probably refine these a little better, maybe, and then if I do, I'll definitely do another video. And if anybody has any tips or sees that I'm doing something wrong or something I could be doing better, definitely throw a comment or shoot me a message or whatever, however that works. So, well, I hope that was helpful, and if you need anything, reach out. See you guys.